The time has finally come. I have finally finished my giant 50,000 piece Lego Kashyyyk MOC, and now it's time for the fun part. I've got to take all of this apart and sort out every single piece individually into their drawers. So yeah, come with us on this journey. It's going to be fun and probably going to break every single one of my fingernails, so let's get started. First things first, we have to remove all of the minifigures. So I collected them all on this small green base plate here. There were definitely a lot of minifigs I used in this MOC. I'm really happy with the ones I used. I think there were some really sick minifigures, and it was a great excuse to whip out the Imperial Army, but we collected them all and sort of compiled them all on this green base plate. So that's most of the minifigs taken out there. There's a few still in the center section, but we'll get those out when we start getting this sort of section taken apart. So this piece here, this lid, is going to be the first piece we take apart. I've sort of taken over a bit of our kitchen / lounge so I can watch TV and do some dismantling. So we've got all our different bins, so they're the main ones that we're going to be doing. So obviously we've got our little tiles and stuff like that, and then all the bricks that are going to go in these ones, and then sort of plates, and then all the filler brick I'm probably going to pile up and then sort over there. So yeah, let's get started on this section. Yeah, should be fun. This was a pretty solid panel full of bricks and plates. I removed all of the sort of pieces off the top, and then it was time to remove tiles. Now, if you've ever taken a Lego MOC apart, you'll know that ripping tiles off of plates is just horrendous. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of that throughout this video, but we made our way down through the layers. There's big 16 by 16 plates in here, so this will be great to add to the collection. And I think one of the best things about this video is going to see how my collection grows and comes back together as I get all these pieces out of the MOC. Next, I grabbed a few pieces from the sort of panels that were holding up the lights. These are these structural supports that were going across the tunnel, and we're basically just made up of dark bluish grey plates. It was pretty easy to organise. There were obviously a few tiles in here as well, but this was definitely one of the easier sections to take apart. I then picked off a few pieces of the wall and started taking those apart as well. Next on the agenda was to take up these two base plates here. Now they're both covered in plant pieces, so I firstly ripped off all the plant pieces from the top of here. This was actually way trickier than you would have thought, because each one of these little small stem pieces are stuck into 1x1 studs, so this took a while, but it was good to get them cleared off. So that's a good look at how many plants I used in this section. Obviously we had a lot of these ones, and they were all stuck into these sort of 1x1 studs with the holes, so that was fun taking all of those off of those ones. Definitely added a little bit extra time to that, but it was worth it. I think these look really good. We had a couple cool other plants in here, but now it's time to actually get to the destruction. I think I'm going to start with this base plate and then move on to this base plate hopefully today. So I just went through ripping off piece by piece, taking off all of the sort of green pieces and the brown pieces that were on top, and exposing all the filler underneath. And this was obviously an easy way to sort, because I had just similar pieces that I could then throw into each bin. So I had sort of like a bin for tiles, a bin for plates, etc, etc, and it was great to see those bins filling up slowly over the course of the MOC. The first base plate is nearly destroyed. We have this sort of section here that I haven't got to yet, mainly because I'm not really working with lots of dark bluish grey pieces. It's a lot easier to do sort of like very similar colours at times, obviously dark greens and the reddish brown. I've obviously got all these drawers out right now, so obviously then there's all the coloured interior. This is one of the best things to come out of it. I just realised I had a load of these white plates, which are really good plates, so definitely a useful one right there. You can see this is my filler brick here. We have the 1x that is pretty full right now. That's getting there to being full. I do have another box that I'll put those in once they start overflowing, because there's a lot more in other sections of the MOC. This is actually getting relatively full. This is like anything 4x plates that are sort of like, yeah, 4x anything pretty much. That's about what this is here, so that's good. That's coming together nicely. Obviously a lot of that's tan, so I will be taking out all the tan ones of those, putting them in their own storage soon. The 2x2s is getting quite full, and I'd say we've got about a quarter of this bin full. This was completely empty. I completely ran out of the 2x. These are really useful, and especially when they start getting longer and longer, that's definitely useful, and I definitely know I have just a ridiculous amount in the MOC, so that's going to be really good. Otherwise, it's great to see all these different plates and tiles and stuff like that coming out of this MOC. And of course I bought a load of reddish brown bricks for this MOC, so hopefully this will just be the start. I think this is literally, I think there was only one side on this one, so yeah, that side there was the only side. Half of it was a gap where the cave was, and I think it was only that much, so I think I've got ones where it goes all the way around the outside, so hopefully I'll get a load of reddish brown bricks. And yeah, it's kind of fun to see the collection replenishing. That's all the sort of reddish brown 1x plates. This was definitely very empty. I was getting super low on this for other videos. And the reddish brown tile is slowly replenishing as well. So the more we get done, the more we're going to fill up these drawers, and I can't wait to see it. Also, I completely forget that my 2x, I have basically a giant bin down there. You might be able to see it. It's sort of filled up with a couple of rubbish things there. Usually that's like 50 to 75% full of 2x bricks, 2x4 bricks specifically. These are so useful, very good to have in a high quantity, and I have a hell of a lot of them, but they're all being used in the MOC, so you can see we have a nice little scattering of them here, and of course a couple of window pieces as well. So yeah, I think I'm going to take a little break for a few minutes or so. My thumbs are starting to get pretty painful from plucking all the pieces off, so I'm going to have a little quick break. Then we're going to smash out the rest of this base plate, smash out that next base plate that we talked about, and hopefully finish a third today. So we'll see how we get on, because I really want to get on to some bigger and better projects that I've got planned for that section downstairs where the MOC is actually housed. So yeah, stay tuned for that video. I'm very excited to work on that. It's going to be something very different for the channel, so fingers crossed that'll be a fun project to work on. But speaking of which, I'm going to have a little break and I'll cut back in when we get some more progress done. Onto the second base plate now, and we just continue taking those plates and tiles off. The brick separators are my best friend. I probably went through maybe 2 or 3 already by now. They kind of get a bit tattered and destroyed after a while, but yeah, I'm sort of smashing through those, but they are honestly a lifesaver. I don't think I'd be able to take apart MOCs without them. But yeah, we then ripped off these big plates here and began working our way towards that landing platform. That's going to be pretty easy to take apart. It's just light bluish grey bricks and stuff, so yeah, we worked our way around that, obviously exposing all of the different areas underneath, like this big cave that was where that spider lair was. And of course I used a load of the different window pieces and door frames to sort of prop up the rest of the build. And with that, the second base plate is taken apart. You can see the reddish brown bricks are completely overflowing. I have a bag, like a giant bag full of them in the reddish brown section of my collection, so I need to get that put away, and I'll do that just now. The main reason I'm sort of going with these drawers is, you can see it's literally spilling over the edge, but yeah, you can see the main reason I'm going with these drawers is because then I can just basically go ahead and put them back in, and these are pieces that I'm going to be sort of getting from the entire MOC pretty much. I mean, there's dark green and reddish brown across the entire MOC, so same with dark bluish grey. Obviously certain pieces I keep out in those sort of drawers all the time, like dark bluish grey, but with these other pieces I don't tend to have them on hand usually. I usually put them into their big drawers, so you can see there's an absolute mess here, but basically, like, let's pull this one out. That's dark bluish grey slopes, but on another case that's light bluish grey slopes. But yeah, basically with pieces I don't use too often, this is obviously the light tan. I just keep them in these boxes, obviously divided into bags, and I'm going to do the same thing with obviously the dark green, and then the reddish brown has its own drawer already. I think I used pretty much every one of my dark green pieces in this MOC. I didn't have many to start with, but yeah, then I used a lot in this MOC, so I bought a ton. So I don't really have a section for dark green already, but obviously I'll be going ahead and making my own spot for dark green. But yeah, but with that being said, I've got some tidying to do, and I'll cut back in tomorrow when we do some more progress and some more destruction. So next base plate up is this giant one right here. There's a ton of useful pieces in the top section of this. I can remember literally doing this was one of the last sections I finished, so there's loads of great pieces up here, and I think hopefully we should be able to finish this off today. I don't know whether we'll get it all done, but we're going to try our best. This section over on the other side was one of my favourite parts of the MOC. I just really like this small landing platform with the sort of inset grills, this sort of sloped wall, these sloped walls. I thought it came out really nicely, but it's time to go, so let's get destroying. So I've got to say, these areas were a bit chaotic in the centre. There was a lot of filler brick just kind of piled in. I just wanted to get these finished. It was kind of a mistake I made with older MOCs where I just used to cram as much filler as possible in, whereas I think I was more structured in most of this build. However, obviously you can see here it's pretty unstructured, but I sort of removed all the sections that were sort of next to the wall, adjacent to the wall, rather than the pieces of the rock work, and just destroyed as much of this as I could, working my way all the way down to that hallway, which is the inside of the base. This outside of the base is the side you're looking from right now, and yeah, it just basically was pretty standard, just taking things apart, putting things in drawers. What more can I say? That's pretty much everything I'm doing in this video, but yeah, it was again pretty monotonous, but we got there in the end. So that was a few more hours of progress. Once again, as always, my fingers are in agony, but we are done with all of that section. Now you can see I've kind of piled up a load of rock work here, basically because rock work's all very similar pieces, and it's very different pieces to the ones I've kind of got out at the moment. I decided to do rock work another time, so I'm going to go back in and just destroy all the rock work in one go. So I kind of took the sections off in one piece or in multiple pieces, just so I then go back in and do that. We have loads more pieces to add to the collection. You can see obviously all of that is the dark bluish grey plates that need to go into their drawers, as well as the 2x bin. This is getting really full, and you can see I also have been piling up all the old bricks that I don't really want in my collection. When I've been buying fill, I usually buy it for about 1 penny per brick, and sometimes you get some old ones in there, so I thought this would be a perfect time to filter through and only get the best of the best in this sort of piece. I mean, there's still some pieces that are pretty shoddy in here, but it's better to have like the really bad pieces out of there. The filler plate is really filling up as well. I need to go through and sort that out a bit more. I think I'll take all the tan pieces out of there like I mentioned before, and everything else is getting really full up, so this is great to see. But now once again I've got to tidy up this massive mess that's on this table here. Oh, and you can see over there, that's all the window frames and door frames and stuff that I use for filler right in the center, so yeah, I've got to tidy up those as well. So getting back to it again, we laid out all the boxes and sort of worked our way through this rest of this section here. Now the rock work, again, like I said, it has a lot of similar pieces and can be quite a sort of mixed bag of stuff. There's obviously a lot of different techniques you go into this sort of thing, so yeah, it was quite a difficult one to take apart, and it wasn't the most fun section to do for sure, but we smashed through it, and then we had a couple of big panels to take apart after this, and then we went back to the main section again, taking loads of plant pieces off and stuff like that, and removing these slanted walls. Going into the sections below that, that with loads of different filler plates and destroying all the rockwork and terrain over on this side. So I've got to say, this is turning out to be a bigger job than I ever thought it would be. We're less than halfway through. We've got one more base plate on the first row, and then we have obviously 4 more base plates on the back section. So yeah, lots of work still to go. Hopefully we're going to get through this pretty quickly. Obviously this main section here, obviously the piece that I just took apart, is one of the biggest sections. So those are obviously going to be where the bulk of the parts are with these giant walls. So that definitely took a lot longer than I expected, but hopefully the other one should go a bit quicker because I think there's a little bit less intricacy. Apart from the fact that there's the whole entrance on the front, it should be pretty good. Obviously there's no ground section, so I think we're going to grab this one next and try and crack through the biggest section, and then hopefully I think this evening my girlfriend and I might do a little bit of building or destruction together, so that should definitely help and speed up the process just a little bit. So yeah, again back to the grind, and again this section was super chaotic. Once I got the tiles off the top and the plates off the top, I just exposed the kind of mess that I had underneath. I did have some problems with this section here where it was really sort of uneven, so I had to go in and with tons of different plates to get it all working and all aligned nicely. So that was definitely not fun to take apart, but we got all of the different slopes off the front, and then I moved downstairs and took apart the landing platform that I talked about earlier. Again, this is pretty simple, just had some brown plates, some regular light tan plates, and then a couple of light tan bricks as well. And then I have to say thank you to my girlfriend who sat on the sofa and took apart a big section here, whilst I was again picking sections off of the actual build, just quickly taking it apart as much as I could, stacking up the different piles here on my kitchen counter before moving back upstairs, where I went ahead and started continuing to work on the main bulk of this big section here. Now it really does take a long time to take apart MOCs, and I really can't understate how horrible this is. I hope this video sort of, if anything, just gives you a good appreciation for how long MOCs like this take to be taken apart. Obviously the building process is huge, but the taking apart is even worse. I quickly added back in the 2x4 bricks that I had and then continued smashing through this section. The prison sort of entrance here was very fun to take apart. This was a bit more interesting than other sections that were very monotonous. Okay, I've now been going at this for pretty much most of the week now. It's Friday today. We've got a load more to take apart. It feels just like a never-ending process. I'm sorry I haven't cut in more. It's purely because I've just been on a mission to try and finish this. I've just been sort of like getting my head down and just trying to take this MOC apart. It's taking way longer than I expected it to be. I don't know why. I kind of expected it to be maybe like 3 or 4 days, but it's now been, I think, 5 days, including today. But of course, with the growing amount of pieces that we've just been adding to the collection, we've had to go grab a couple more things to store all the pieces. So this is basically just one of those sort of like shoe rack sort of things, but by my calculations, this should fit 3 or 2 of those IKEA boxes per shelf perfectly. So I think this might be pretty good for going under my desk, holding a few more things for parts because I'm getting very low on space. I also got another thing which I'll go up and show you now, and that is this big sort of box here. I'm going to be using this, I think, for minifigures. I've dragged out a couple of boxes full of minifigs, and you can see they're kind of overflowing. So we have like my regular Star Wars figures in here. My Imperial box is completely overflowing. Basically inside of here we just have all of my mixed figures. So we've got like Mandalorians. We have a couple that are sorted into bags, and then down by the bottom there's kind of like a bulk load. So you can see Kiadi Mindis are falling out all over the place. And in this one we got some like Minecraft stuff. I believe there's like Jurassic World and Marvel in here as well. So it'd be good to get rid of these because then I can use these boxes for more parts, because obviously I want the parts to be easy to grab and stuff like that. Of course, as I take apart Kashyyyk, I'll have so many more pieces. So I might even use like one of the drawers for like dark bluish grey plates, because I think I'm going to have just a ridiculous amount of dark bluish grey plates. So that might be really useful here. But yeah, picked this up. It was like 20 quid. I think it was at one of those bargain stores. I was kind of hoping it would fit underneath that desk there. So yeah, let's see if the minifigs fit in here nicely. I think the clones as well could possibly come over here because I have a smaller version of this down here, which has a load of clone troopers in here. So you can see this is so full I can't even open the drawers. But yeah, clone troopers, clone troopers, clone troopers first order in that bottom one there. So that would be great to unload all of this into that other drawer. Okay, so clone armies packed away in this one here. You can see just a vast array of bags of clones in here. I really love this look when you see all of this absolute loot in here. But yeah, that's looking pretty good. And Imperials and First Order are down in this bottom drawer. That's First Order right there. You can see just this small bag right here. There's about 100 First Order minifigs, and then in here is the giant Imperial army, which I love to see. So yeah, you can chuck that all in there. And then I decided, instead of putting my loose rebels and everything into this big drawer here, I decided I'd keep this and the top one for pieces. So you can see these 2 top ones are here right there for I think, yeah, probably good dark bluish grey plates, and then possibly something else, maybe some sort of filler plates in here. I'll have to see. But yeah, then I sort of have this drawer here which fits all of the loose minifigs. This is just basically completely random minifig minifigs. Then we'll have all of our bagged up, slightly more organized minifigs here. So yeah, this will probably go into that rack over there, and then I'll use the next drawer up for these ones, and that'll go down here into the second drawer down. And then I've got this bottom two here where I can have probably Marvel and Minecraft in there, so that'll be really good, and it's great to get some more organization done and free up a load more of these Samler boxes that I use from IKEA, because they're just so useful. And there goes all of the dark bluish grey plates and one mystery green brick in there as well. So yeah, that's the start of the dark bluish grey collection. I thought I'd pour these in here because they're probably one of the things I have in higher quantities. So yeah, that's what that big box is going to be for. At least to start with. I might even add like a bag of wedge plates in here as well. And so I smashed through the rest of this section here, just removing the top layer, and most of the stuff underneath was just fully air. It's just using a load of these longer, taller pieces just to hold it up. And then I moved on to one of the worst sections, the massive semicircle section here. This is two base plates fully connected together, so it was a big project and sort of took up the whole space of my table here. You can see me and my girlfriend are working on this again. I'm pretty sure whilst destroying this MOC, we watched the entire Welcome to Wrexham documentary, which I think has 18 or so episodes, which is just insane. It puts into perspective how much time we took. I didn't actually do a timer or anything to do the whole build, but I probably should have. It would have been interesting to see how long this took, but you can see all these different bins filling up, and yeah, we're getting closer and closer to finishing now. Little update now, the week has come to an end. I've basically done 5 out of 8 base plates fully, and then I think I have about half done on the other 3, so we're getting close now. We're really pushing on towards the end. Hopefully I'll be finishing this off at the start of next week. The next base plate then had a load of foliage, so that took quite a while to sort of take off the MOC and sort into all of its appropriate places. I do store all my foliage sort of in bags in another one of those boxes like I've mentioned before, and I find this a really good way to store it. But yeah, obviously some of them are in pick-a-brick cups and stuff as well. But yeah, once we got all of this off, it was time to remove our last dark green and reddish brown pieces from the MOC. This was the last few, so we could see the full collections sort of coming together with those, and then we removed the last 2 sections over on the left-hand side. This base plate felt pretty good, as it was actually the first plate I actually started on for the MOC, so over a year ago now I started this base plate right here, and it's great to have it finally fully destroyed and back in the part collection. And that is another base plate done. So we just got the 2 conjoined base plates left to do now. And I've even tidied this side a little bit. I know it still looks a little messy. We've just kind of got a cup or a lid full of sort of stuff I've got to put away. And then we've got some cracked brown pieces. I know there's a lot of reddish brown in this MOC, so I was kind of expecting a few pieces to break. But yeah, you can see a couple of them are broken. It's honestly not too bad. A couple of tiles. So yeah, really not too shabby. And I'm really happy that there wasn't much more. But that 2x4 tile right there was a bit of a pain. But otherwise, what can you really expect? And then there were 2. We have these 2 conjoined base plates left to go. Obviously just this semicircle, and then sort of half of this wall is pretty much destroyed already. So let's whack these upstairs, and then we'll get to work destroying our final 2 base plates. Okay, so I've just got the MOC up here, and I noticed something really weird. So you can see these pieces here. This is why you've got to be really careful plugging too many lights into one set of LED lights and stuff like that. You can see this piece is completely melted. This yellow piece here has also got a pretty big dent in it, I think. Basically, this cable that was going into the wall was getting super hot. The metal bit was probably set across these bits of plastic and then maybe fell into here, and you can see it's really damaged these pieces. So obviously a couple of these pieces are completely unusable. This one right here is also pretty bad as well. So yeah, that even looks like a fake Lego piece, because that stud right there is completely melted off. But yeah, that's really weird. So definitely be careful with your LED lights. If you're plugging too many into one section, it can be really, really bad. So yeah, definitely be careful. Good word of warning here. But yeah, with that being said, let's get on with the destruction. Back to work, and the finishing line was in sight. I was completely wrong when I said it before that it was my last green and brown pieces. Obviously there are a ton more on this base plate. I kind of forgot about those, but yeah, we got them back out and we started filling them up again. I then made my way over to the semicircle build, taking off all of the pieces around the outside of it, focusing then on the back wall, ripping this entire section apart. Then you can see from above that I removed all of the tiles of the semicircle. Oh, finally we are on the home stretch, ladies and gentlemen. There's a tiny bit left to do. You can see this middle sort of circle. I removed all the tiles, which was pretty satisfying to do. I whipped out the big old brick separator for that one. And now we just got to destroy a slight bit more of terrain and this middle bit underneath. And we are done with Kashyyyk. So let's crack on. I can't wait to get this finished. And then I'll give you a sort of overview of what we're doing with the collection, what we're doing with the parts, and all that sort of fun stuff. I then removed the final layer of dark tan plates and exposed again a huge mess of different filler brick and filler plate underneath, which I've quickly not quickly, went ahead and monotonously removed from underneath the Sabbavat section. So yeah, this was a cool technique and I think it worked quite well, and it's good to get all of the different hinge bricks back, but yeah, it was a pain to take apart and I definitely was a bit messy with the filler. But yeah, finally we removed the last couple of tiles that were underneath here and then took apart the final couple of pieces from the sides here, obviously removing all of the reddish brown bricks along the side and the 2x4 bricks that are all supporting this section. And yeah, with that we are completely finished. Oh, we're finally done, guys. These are the last 3 boxes that I have to sort of put back into their positions. You can see these are all the broken pieces we had from the entire MOC, which I think honestly was a pretty good turnout considering how much reddish brown we had in there. Obviously, these were pretty badly splintered. It's classic, just sort of when you go to pick them up, they sort of snap on the ends, which is a pain. But obviously these ones could have been helped if I didn't plug so many lights into the lights, so that's obviously a shame. But yeah, let's go and add these obviously dark bluish grey bricks, dark bluish grey plates, and 2x4 bricks back into their respective positions. So as you saw, this is kind of getting a bit full here, and obviously I've still got that other bin as well full of them, so we're going to add all of these dark bluish grey bricks into here now. So yeah, half a drawer left to go, and we're now fully topped up with our dark bluish grey bricks. That is a lot of bricks right there. I'm so happy to have a huge amount in there now. That's going to be super heavy. I hope that's going to be okay in that drawer system that I have over there. But let's add the plates back. And now that's all my dark bluish grey plates. And finally we have our filler 2x4s. So you can see obviously there's some 16x16 plates in there, but basically almost a full box of 2x4s, which is sick. So that's going to be so useful for different filler in the near future. 16x16 plate wise, obviously we have quite a few there. That goes down quite a way. I've colour coordinated them so far. I've got to put these ones into their own positions down further in the colour order, but that's looking pretty cool as well. For reference, this is how much light bluish grey bricks we had. I thought this was a lot before I started Kashyyyk, but now obviously we have a load more dark bluish grey. Tile wise, we have that one there, which is dark bluish grey tiles, as well as a whole nother one full of dark bluish grey tiles, and then obviously that's even more than the ones I have in light bluish grey. Again, light bluish grey was one I thought I had again in higher quantity than dark bluish grey, but turns out now I have more in dark bluish grey. So yeah, I guess that's quite cool. All of the filler bins are pretty much overflowing. You can see the 2x2s is really overflowing. This one here is overflowing. The sort of like 2x plates I had to sort of expand into another drawer, which you might be able to see right down under there. Same with the 1x bricks as well there. But again, all of this is going to be super useful in upcoming projects. I've started to rearrange stuff over here. You can see it's a bit more like 2 bins per color now. So we have black bricks, black plates, white bricks, white plates, reddish brown on the layer below, tan there, and then a few other colors. We have obviously dark tan there and a couple of different greens, and dark orange down here in the bottom. These are some other overflows we've got. Obviously this is like 1x plates. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just going to have one drawer full of them and then have an overflow. So these are some of the ones I've got overflows in. I've also got one in light tan too, but it means I can just have these drawers up here nice and easy to access, so they won't be overflowing and stuff. So I've sort of got them down a little bit in quantity, just about got one full drawer of dark tan, and then obviously we've got the dark green there as well, which is looking pretty cool. These two are starting to fill up as well, which is great. But yeah, that is the destruction of Kashyyyk. Obviously dark bluish grey plates and tiles were super plentiful in the MOC. This is how many 1x2s and 1x1s I had, and then I started to organize. I started to overflow this drawer here. This is 1x6s and 1x8s, as well as 2x4s and 2x3s, so that's coming together nicely. And then this is 1x4s and 1x3s, and this is all like the corner pieces and stuff like that. So yeah, overall it's looking really good. Obviously there's a few drawers we still have to organize. The medium nougat from that Geonosis MOC I did ages ago still has to be fully organized and put away in boxes, but we have loads more storage now, and that's really good. So yeah, earlier I picked up that stand. We're going to build that, put that here. We've got more boxes to fill up, so this is going to be really good in the near future. And yeah, I'm honestly so glad that week is over. That was absolute hell. I mean, it's now Tuesday. I started last Sunday, so yeah, it's been a real grind. Honestly, I can't tell you how bad my fingers feel. Like, it's horrible. I can now cut my nails, obviously, because it's all done, but yeah, oh, it's so good to have that done. Now it's time to start on 2 new videos that I have coming up very soon, which will be pretty fun, so stay tuned to the main channel over there. I've got another video that should probably be posted, maybe even before this one actually, on the second channel. Lots more coming up soon, guys. Hit that subscribe button, leave a like if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys later. Have a good day. Bye bye.